Hello to all our viewers from the Bridges for Peace offices in Jerusalem. Yesterday was described as the saddest day in Israel since October 7th. The bodies of what was supposed to be, of what Hamas claimed to be Shiri, Ariel and Kfir Bibas, was handed over to Israel after 500 days of captivity. It has turned out that the body could not be identified as that of Shiri Bibas. Israel identified Kfir and Ariel. And then later last night, we had 2 buses exploding, thankfully, empty buses. But our guest here today says that this might just be the beginning. Our guest today, Colonel in the reserves, Grisha Yakubovich. Grisha, welcome.
Hi, Elsa.
Now, Grisha,
Nice
I
to be
want
here
us
with
to
you.
get started on what happened yesterday. Can you walk us through what can only be described as probably one of the most grotesque ceremonies that Hamas came up with?
Well, honestly, Elsa, I'm not surprised from what we saw yesterday on TV. The Israeli TV decided not to show it in Israel, but this is exactly how a terror organization leads a narrative, and they are teaching the future generations in Gaza a message to the Arab world, a message to the West Bank, a message to how not to be human, how not to hold or to respect values as human beings. Okay, I'm not talking about nothing else, just as human beings, not more than that. And what we saw, the show that we saw yesterday, meant maybe to stick a knife into our hearts, that it will continue. That it's not that we only in pain and we bleed, that it will be, I don't know, more than that. I don't know if you can get anywhere more than that. It makes me sad as again, not an Israeli, not as a Jew. It makes me sad as a human being. That's all. It's like, how can you put or lead a ceremony with 4 coffins on the stage with 2 babies, and you bring your babies from Gaza by the thousands? This was, by the way, the first ceremony where we've seen the terrorists with the families, with their children and babies, because previously it was without the children, only the ones who were curious. But it looks like Hamas gathered all the people from I would say, Khan Yunis and Deir al-Balah districts by the thousands, with their kids, with entire families, to send a message of what? This is how we will behave to the kids of the enemy. This is how you should grow on the knees of brutality, murdering, torturing. You should kill their kids. What is the message they wanted to send? And I think that what they did yesterday is something that, unfortunately, on both sides, it will be remembered for generations. Because we, as Israelis, I don't see, if in the beginning of the war, when we spoke, and I told you it will take us time to heal, it's like, we want to heal. I think it's important that we will heal, that we will recover, that we will move ahead, that we will lick our wounds and then clean them, and then maybe in a generation or 2 it will heal. But what do they want to achieve? That we will not exist? There's no way that we will be able to heal? What do you want us, that the next generation of the soldiers will continue fighting you? Is that what you want, Hamas? And to their own kids, it's a message. We will continue living on the blood of our enemies, the Israelis and the Jews. Do not forget, it doesn't matter if it's an old guy, 86 years old, or a kid, 2 years old, or a year and a half old. It doesn't matter. You kill them all. Well, what they taught us yesterday, it's not that never again. It's like we will never forgive. And this is something totally different than never again, or because we wanted to forgive. I think that we all we all felt the suffer on both sides. And what they did yesterday, they just increased the percentage of Israelis that will support the government or any government that will say, we will not forgive, never again, and we will eliminate you. And unfortunately, and I don't know how many innocent people are in Gaza after yesterday. If I was skeptic when people said Hamas is Gaza, Gaza is Hamas, by the way, I wrote a post about it yesterday. I think that after the thousands of people, of families with their kids, celebrating, cheering, dancing on our dead bodies, and it's not soldiers, it's not commanders, it's not people who are in reserve, or it's pure two babies. It's pure souls. It doesn't matter if it's a Jewish baby, a Christian baby, or a Muslim baby. It's a baby. I don't know anymore, honestly. I know Gaza well, and you know how well I know Gaza. And if I told in the panels that I participate on TV channels that I disagree to what people say Hamas is Gaza, Gaza is Hamas, sadly, I have to agree to them. And they will have to prove that this is different. The event is not behind us yet. We have a huge issue now with Hamas and the ceasefire agreement because we were sure that they sent the body of Shiri Bibas, but it was what we understand now that they sent somebody else, a Palestinian woman in the coffin, and it's not her.
So this is, let me just interject there, this is a clear violation of the ceasefire agreement, correct?
Well, the war started with a clear violation of the ceasefire a year and a half ago. So don't be surprised that they violate again the ceasefire agreement and the release. So I'm not surprised, okay? I honestly, I even expected that, but I don't want to say that, because if you write something and people talk about it, then a post becomes a rumor, etc. And I didn't want to hurt the feelings of the family, but it didn't surprise me that they just sent a different body. Like, just imagine how can one family suffer? The whole family was kidnapped, two parents and two kids, and then the father, after 500 days, was released, and then he was without knowing if they are still alive or not. He still was hopeful that he will see his wife and two children. Now, again, we are not talking about soldiers. We are talking about a mom with two babies. Like, what did they do wrong to somebody in Gaza? What did they do wrong to somebody in this world that they were kidnapped? And from what we understand from the pathological test, that they were actually murdered already in November. It's like, I would say, a month into the war, something like that. I think that if there would be only just human beings uh, with morality, they could send the bodies back, without ceasefire agreements, without the ICRC, without the ceremonies, without nothing.
Correct.
But this is what they chose, and they are dancing on the blood of our children. This is something that we will never do. And yet, and it's not behind us. We have still 6 hostages that will be released, I hope, tomorrow. And we demand that they will give the body of Shiri Bibas back. Now, a big question mark if she's dead. So just imagine the family, the Bibas family, Now there is a certain hope, maybe, that they would think that if the body was not there, maybe she's alive, and now they're trying to play a different game. So it's like what the family would have to go through. It's like, emotionally, it's something that I don't know if somebody would be able to deal with something like that. And about the buses,
Hang
well,
on. I think you've made two very important points here. First, again, this is psychological warfare at its best, or rather at its absolute worst. It's giving hope and then taking it away. But also, you mentioned this was Hamas's choice. Hamas made a choice throughout this entire war, correct? They started this war by choice. And every single day of continuing this war, they made a choice to continue, to fight, to put their people in this position.
they made a choice that, knowing that they will pay a huge price when it comes to destruction, to casualties. It's like they decided to destroy the future of their own people. This is the decision that was taken on October 7th. If I said, honestly, okay, I want to share with you something that, when I heard about the Trump's plan, well, I said the guy is, he should find a spaceship, the Enterprise, and fly somewhere. And honestly, this is what should happen now. I'm sorry, but after this horrible, I'm shocked. I'm still shocked. Okay, I'm sad. Okay, I understand it as an expert, as an insider, but I'm also a human being, and I'm shocked. And yet, 1.9 or 1.8 million Palestinians from Gaza should leave Gaza. Period. I don't. I think that what they did yesterday was actually the signature of we as Palestinians have no future in Gaza. It is their decision. They started, and yesterday it was actually the last stamp. This is what we need because we are all Hamas and Hamas is us. So there's no way that we will continue living side by side near a terror entity that did what they did yesterday.
Okay, so to make
And
matters even worse,
Elsa, that I'm one of those people who support
I
peace. I'm
know,
one of those people
I
who
know,
know the Gazans and they know me. And
I
if
know.
I say it, if I say it, what will say the rest that don't know them as I know?
Grisha, I think few people realize that before October 7th, how high the hope was in Israel of living side by side in peace and how low it is now.
Yeah, it is.
Now, to make matters even worse, yesterday, the two exploding buses.
Well, Elsa, I think that we would all be in a different situation if what they executed yesterday would actually hit the time, the goal. Just imagine. You could now take an interview of me with maybe more than 300, 400 people. In every bus, it's 50 something people. And I think we found 4 buses booby trapped or 5. So, and what about the people that would stand outside the bus? Okay, so just imagine we could have this interview now after minimum 250, 300 people will be dead.
So that's how
This
big the
is,
explosives were. That they were
yes,
big enough, 5 kilograms each. Explain
5
it.
kilograms, 5 kilograms each with TNT inside a closed bus. This is the meaning of the explosion. Okay, it means you've seen the burnt bus. It's a destruction, a total destruction of a bus because it explodes and then it's on fire. So whoever was not killed or injured from the explosion, he will probably be dead from the fire. So
And the timers on the
and
explosions, they were set for 9 o'clock this morning, and somebody made a mistake and they
I
went.
don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. It should be investigated, fully investigated. But I do want to say, as I said, the following: we could now have this interview with minimum 250 dead people. This is how we need to look at it. Now, I'm not
What would be
surprised,
the
Elsa.
implication of that, Grisha?
The implication of that would be a war in the West, not an operation, not I don't know, 2 brigades or 3 brigades that will do something in the northern part of Samaria. I'm talking about a war. It means also that probably the demand in Israel would be an end to the Oslo Accord and sending all the PA, I don't know, guys, whoever wants to stay would stay in the West Bank. They should surrender, give their weapons back, and Israel is taking control. Because what Hamas, something that people need to understand. Okay, if until the war in Israel, the people who wanted to put an end to Oslo and that said that there's no future to peace between us and them were a minority, now the numbers are changing. The majority of the Israelis, okay, don't want to see Palestinians in Israel. They don't want peace. They don't want to live side by side. And it's like this idea of President Trump, this vision of him that 1 point something million people in Gaza. I don't know how many exactly. Okay, we can talk about it maybe in a different session. I think there is a big thing behind it because the Palestinians always said 2.3 million people in Gaza. So why President Trump said only 1.8? It's like, is it about because of the aid that somebody sent to Gaza, knowing that there are only 1.8, but the numbers are bigger? Just think about it. This is only a comment. This is maybe for the next interview.
Yes.
But the majority of the Israelis don't want peace. They now I hear in the street, in the media, that the Israelis want the same solution also to the West Bank. It's like, if you want to kill us, you don't live near us, and you will not be our neighbors. Simple as it is. And it's only, unfortunately, the beginning, Elsa. This is the problem, because I think that this event in the bus is the implications of pressure made by Iran. I think we spoke about it in the past, and what we see is the train started to drive real fast, and it's going to crash. And the outcome, we already know what will be. It's like we will see a full-scale, huge operation in the West Bank, and again, suffering. And who will suffer? The people on both sides.
Grisha, thank you. I don't even know how to tell you Shabbat Shalom, because this is a day of mourning. Israel is reeling. This is a day of undeniable grief. But we'll speak again next week.
I understand that. All I want is one thing, that all the hostages will be brought back home. And when that will happen, we will be free to deal with terror.
Thank you, Grisha.
Thank you very much.
This is Ilse Strauss coming to you from Bridges for Peace offices in Jerusalem, reminding you to now, more than ever, pray for the peace of Jerusalem.